See, the way I look at it, my top 5 issues are not a partisan thing. Everybody should want to get the corruption out of Washington. Everybody should want to be constitutional by getting the lawyers to stop writing the laws to enrich themselves and draining our economy from. I heard that half of the cost of a doctor's visit is to pay for their medical malpractice insurance.
Absolutely, and they didn't even talk about that.
Who wrote that law so that they had to pay that? I mean,
lawyers.
They wrote all the laws, and it's driven up the costs, and it's costing everybody. If somebody spills a cup of coffee on themselves, leaving McDonald's, they sue McDonald's and they're doing it again. I heard.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and how so it costs.
And the sad part is that the coffee would have been cold. What would that have lady have said? She would have complained.
Yeah, when I got a hot one, but it costs everybody. They just don't see it. It's a backdoor tax that they're doing. But after that, I want to get liability limits, which you've got to have to get the lawyers out of there to get them. I want to get the tort reform so we have liability limits. And then to restore the economy, I want to require importers to carry the same amount of liability coverage. Because right now, if you manufacture it in another country and it comes over here, you have zero liability. Because you're out of the jurisdiction of our courts, so you can't be sued. That's why we got the leaded toys over. That's why we got the poison dog food.
Yeah, that's why we need all those agencies, right? So that they do all these great things that they never do.
They can tell them to recall it, but nobody could go sue them for the damages. Okay? Because they made it in another country. But if it would have happened in the United States, those companies would probably been out of business.
Right.
They'd have been sued out of business. They want all the jobs. Okay? Let's have a liability limit, but apply it to imports too. That way they don't sell us their junk. Let us compete fairly. Level the playing field. Let them compete fairly.
We're going to run out of time, and the one thing you did say, there was a question on here. I want to get to your no's no answers because they can look online. We showed the website if you want to see all his answers. But it was question, I think it was, will you vote to eliminate the IRS?
Actually, I'm in favor of the fair tax, okay? Which I don't like the fact that you end up having to get the check back every month, but they're just trying to reimburse you for the taxes that you pay for your basic fundamental stuff.
And our problem with that is, aren't you just moving the people from the IRS building to another building and calling it something else?
No, because with the fair tax, the state collects the money as a sales tax and turns it over to the federal government. All reporting is a once-a-month report that they tell how much they've sold, and then they send the money to the state. The state forwards it on to the federal government. The IRS would no longer be.
And wouldn't this end up being more of a tax on poor because now my milk is being taxed? Or, I mean, why is it any better than my income?
Because every month they reimburse you for the basic essentials. So, I don't know what it was, it's like $180 a month per person.
What, they'll give me back?
Yeah. To compensate you for the essentials.
I will say anything's better than the IRS. You should not be taxed on your labor. Absolutely not. Right. What I decide, if you want me to work for you, and what you decide I'm worth, and that's between me and you, and the government comes and says, I need a piece of that.
And it allows our manufacturers also to compete. Because right now, the way the tax system is, if they make a profit, they have to pay on the profit. But if they make a profit by selling it overseas, they wouldn't be paying tax for what they exported. So it allows us to compete internationally. Okay?
So I'll at least look at it. I'm a proponent of
other ways. It sounded like a good idea to me.
So it's at least better, but you are against the IRS.
Oh, definitely.
Eliminate the IRS.
Let's find a way, because I don't like the...
Because too, they're the ones who enforce the health care now. 16,000 new IRS agents.
It's wrong. It's just wrong.
How is the IRS supposed to enforce my health care? Now that really gets scary. Hang on, hold that thought. I want to get to the last few that you did not answer. Number 16. Will you oppose any legislation that requires states and citizens to participate in a national identification program?
I would oppose it, yes.
Okay. So you're against the national ID card?
Definitely. If the states want to have an ID card, that's up to them. Again, if you don't like what the state's doing, you can always move to a different state then, but you can't move to a different country. You know, give up your city. I mean, that's asking.
And I'm not usually too much into conspiracies, but my goodness, on those national ID cards, they've talked about putting RFID chips in there, and some scary things that if they get, I mean, I don't know if they'd go that far, but my gosh, it definitely sounds like papers, please.
See, there's one last thing that I'm really pushing for that I think everybody should want, and that is certification of imports, that they meet our EPA guidelines. Because right now it bothers me that we're paying another country to pollute over there. But like Mexico, their air goes right back up here. So we're paying them to pollute us. And we won't allow our own people to do it. So we should require them to, if they're going to sell it to us, the goods to us, they need to be certified that they're meeting our EPA guidelines before they're allowed to bring them in. Then, if they decide to do the same thing and have a higher standard, then...
And if they decide not to, what would we do? Tax them more?
What do you mean? They just couldn't ship their goods in. They would have...
So if they don't meet our standards on our goods, then we just wouldn't accept their goods. I don't know how I feel about that. I've not thought about that. It's an interesting thing, though, because you're actually saying, I'm not big of more government, but what you're saying is, if we're going to have the rules, make everybody follow them.
And I would like to go back through the EPA rules and have the legislature actually vote on the rules.
EPA should be states, because only your state, I mean...
Well, the problem is, if one state's doing a whole bunch of pollution, the neighboring state has to live with it, because the wind's going to blow over there. So...
But I'm a big proponent of property rights.
Right.
So then that state could sue the other state. And that's when the federal government could step in and say, they absolutely have the right to sue you because you are polluting. And then that state would have to stop. There are other ways around.
Who sets the standard? And states...
I know, right now the federal government says they do.
But they should have to actually vote on it so that the citizens have a say in what those regulations were. You know, so the citizens are setting the standard of what you're doing, not the neighboring state citizens setting your standard.
Gotcha.
So that's why I say it has to be something for the federal government, because you could injure the neighboring state.
We only got a minute left. I want to put his website up. If you want more to know about him, you can write in. Can they write you at this?
Yeah, me at gregdickman.com, yeah.
There it is. Are those correct? gregdickman.com, me at gregdickman.com.
Yep, that's right.
They can see your issues. They can go to the Campaign for Liberty website. Again, I want to thank you so much for coming on, answering the questionnaire.
Sorry I didn't get it all filled out. I thought I had.
That's okay. I think we got through everything that, the last one was 19, will you oppose all tax increases? And you set off the air because of a flat tax. You couldn't say yes, but other than the flat tax.
Well, the flat tax was designed to replace, but not raise the tax. So they would just suddenly stop.
But you would oppose any tax increases at the federal level and reduce spending? All right, I got to wrap it up. I'm getting the cue from my camera people. They're always yelling at me. Sir, I thank you so much. I hope you guys learned something. Please go out and vote. My biggest pet peeve is the people say I can't change anything. If nothing from the Florida Gore-Bush thing, one vote does make a difference. So please, Tuesday, May 4th, go vote. Go vote for somebody. It's the primaries. Go vote, and then we'll do it again in November. Get out there and vote for the best guy. It's not a horse race either. You don't win a prize by voting for the winner. You win a prize because you voted your conscience. So vote for who you believe in. All right, guys. Thank you. Another live edition.